From the film that was too depressing for post-war audiences to the production that broke the action movie mold in the 1980s, Christmas films have a special place in our cultural history. With just days to go until the 25th, we have picked 5 festive movies that are significant not just for their artistic merit, but also their impact on society. With his slim physique, receding hairline and fear of flying, Bruce Willis's New York cop John McClane was different from the typical action hero. Gone were the likes of the fearless, muscled Schwarzenegger and Stallone, and in was a vulnerable, ordinary guy with a gun, looking to save his marriage and rescue his wife just in time for Christmas. But it was this recipe that turned 1988 film Die Hard into one of the most popular Christmas films of all time. It sees a group of thugs led by Alan Rickman's German villain Hans Gruber take over a high-rise office block in the hope of stealing $640 million worth of bearer bonds. It transformed Willis from an unheralded TV comedy actor into one of Hollywood's biggest draws. McClane's comedic catchphrases, including "Yippee-ki-yay, mother," have wormed their way into popular culture, whilst Die Hard itself redefined the action genre. Films featuring a lone hero battling an overwhelming opposing force in a confined location have been 10 a penny since its release. From Air Force One, Die Hard on a Plane, to Under Siege, Die Hard on a Battleship, the theme remains enduring to this day. Whilst the premise might be a little ridiculous, Home Alone has proved to be a timeless Christmas classic for anyone born in the 80s and 90s. With his cheeky antics front and centre, Macaulay Culkin's star turn as Kevin McAllister, the perennially overlooked youngest child, made him the most famous 10-year-old in the world.
Our troubles will be ours.
Kevin!
The notion of a kid being left alone to fend for themselves and using a raft of makeshift gadgets to ward off 2 hapless burglars really struck a chord. Kevin got to do things that most kids can only dream of. Moving into your parents' plush bedroom, eating ice cream sundaes for dinner, rifling through your evil older brother's possessions, and putting on your dad's aftershave. The film ultimately stayed in the box office top 10 for 6 months, even though it was a Christmas movie. It was so popular that the term "to be home alone" was coined by executives to describe how their movies had suffered at the box office thanks to its enduring popularity. And the Chicago property where Home Alone was filmed continues to be a tourist attraction and can even be booked on Airbnb. Frank Capra's 1946 film It's a Wonderful Life is more than a classic. It has become synonymous with Christmas for millions. It tells the story of selfless New Yorker George Bailey, whose contemplation of suicide on Christmas Eve prompts a guardian angel to show him what the world would be like without him. Its ultimate message, that everyone's life matters, has resonated down the decades. But the film was not actually an initial hit with audiences, who wanted some joviality after the horrors of the Second World War. Capra and star James Stewart had both witnessed the reality of the conflict, with the director making documentaries and the actor flying combat missions. But It's a Wonderful Life lost around $3 million in its original release. Only when it was shown regularly on TV from the 1970s onwards, thanks to a copyright loophole, did it start to become a fixture of popular culture. Now, households everywhere sit down to watch it every year, a fact that shows how it has influenced generations of people all across the world. When it was first released in 1993, The Nightmare Before Christmas, with its unsettling characters and macabre themes, was the embarrassing black sheep for Disney. But now, nearly 30 years on, the stop-motion animation production continues to be a successful cash cow. Telling the story of Pumpkin King Jack Skellington and his discovery of Christmastown, the film spawned a cult phenomenon that still rages to this day. Such has been the impact on fans that some have even taken to getting tattoos featuring the likes of Skellington and Sally, his love interest. The film is a major theme in the seasonal Haunted Mansion holiday attraction at Disneyland and has inspired books, comics, video games and concerts. As for the debate about whether or not it is a Christmas or Halloween movie, can it not be both? The culmination of Richard Curtis's incredibly successful run of British movies in the mid-90s and early 2000s, Love Actually has become a Christmas staple. Its use of 9 intertwined stories to big up love itself has made it a modern classic. Following on from 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill, Curtis again teamed up with Hugh Grant, who plays the Prime Minister. Its famous cue card scene, where Andrew Lincoln declares his love for Keira Knightley, has been copied elsewhere on screen and by real-life couples. Although some have since decried the scene as creepy, other aspects of the film's 90s sensibilities have also been given the politically incorrect tag by some. And whilst Grant's dancing down the stairs in Downing Street probably hasn't been done in real life, the fictional PM did actually have an impact on British politics. Referencing the scene in which he stands up to the US president, pundits speculated whether a possible anti-American shift on the Gordon Brown in 2007 might represent a Love Actually moment. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.